Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Marketing Uncensored. Somehow, we've made it 11 episodes, still haven't been canceled, and this week we're going to try and change that. I'm Colin Slattery,
I'm Sam Tomlinson.
and we're going to make agencies great again on this episode.
Now, I feel like that's a much better use of MAGA, but sure. Let's do
I
this.
I now wish I had a hat for this.
We can order some. When we start the Marketing Uncensored merch store, we'll make agencies great again.
I love this. I love this for us, so this will be great.
This feels like a thing we should do.
So, the
Uh,
pendulum is swinging back.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've had at least half a dozen calls over the last couple weeks where brands are actively saying they are not hiring marketing talent. They are letting go of their marketing talent, and they are looking for agencies to pick up more of the slack and looking for agencies to take over more, I would say, both specialized and more generalized tasks.
Yeah, we've been seeing the same thing. We've closed two large clients in the last 2 weeks where they're just telling us they can't figure it out and they're done trying and they're going to let someone else figure it out. So here we are. Who knew that hiring marketing talent was difficult?
I mean, anybody who's tried to hire marketing talent at any kind of scale for any period of time, but children have to touch the stove.
Yeah. And
Like,
I think they've been touching the stove.
yeah, that's fair. And I think one of the things that I have seen repeatedly is a lot of these brands are hiring people based on what's on the resume because they don't have a way to evaluate the actual skill. So they're going based on proxies. But a lot of these people who they were at startups that were, or like these sexy companies, I'm like, they were good during COVID or during ZERP. Like, they didn't actually have to market through headwinds. They didn't have to deal with any kind of challenge.
You also don't
They,
even know if they were responsible for any of the
right.
work that actually moved the needle.
Right. Like, are they Bezos sitting in the rocket just kind of like going up, or are they actually the person who is flying the rocket ship or designing the rocket ship? Or are they just like the glorified passenger that's going to do the photo op at the end?
I'll be completely honest. I think that's a mistake that a lot of brands make. I mean, they make it with hiring agencies too, but you get the person who is at these various rocket ships who is just good at being social and being in the right place at the right time, but didn't actually do anything at all. And then when you bring them on and pay them a shitload of money, they don't do anything. And you're like, well, what the fuck happened? You were at XYZ nine-figure brand. Why isn't this working? And they're like, well, I just sat there and like hung out and went to the cafeteria to get food. It's like day in a life of a PM at a, Magnificent
Meta.
Seven.
Yeah. Like, you literally just worked here. You were not the person who was driving it forward, and you were not the person who had to deal with the challenges. And candidly, the person who was hiring you had no capacity to understand the difference, right or wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that, every person should be a marketing expert. I'm saying that hiring is hard for people who are marketing experts. So to think that because you just run a cool brand, you will be able to successfully hire talent is folly.
Yes. And this is something that we discussed, I think, on episode 2 back a few months ago. And I feel like this cycle has shifted more aggressively with people wanting to in-house like earlier in the first half of this year. And then the round of people in-housing, we're at the point where it hasn't worked. And they're like, oh shit, this materially fucked my brand. Maybe agencies do work. Let's go out and talk to them.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's also a case of the results are in for some of these agency hires, right?
Yeah.
Like this movement towards in-housing, it started well before the beginning of this year. It started, I would say, probably a year or more ago at this point. And at this point, if you're a brand, you are at least one full fiscal in, and you're looking at back and you're saying, well, shit, we missed. And I mean, I think the data bears that out pretty well. Like the majority of ecom brands are, I don't want to say flat, but they're flat to 10% plus 10% minus 10% year over year is the vast majority of the ecom brands that I've seen. And I believe the data that I think CTC shared something, and I think Dato shared something. They all say the same thing, right? The vast majority of 7 to 8 figure ecom brands are not growing at 30% year over year. They are stuck
And they're stuck because the people who can grow them are not on their payroll and will never be on their payroll.
because they can't afford them.
Correct. As someone who hires excellent marketing talent for a living and is constantly in the market for excellent talent, there's not a lot of it out there, and it costs a lot more than you think it costs.
Yeah, that's, I think there is like this, there's two things that I think drive this, and I'm sure you've seen them too. One is, for some reason in brand owners' minds, these two ideas get divorced. One is marketing and the other is growth. And growth is great and amazing, and marketing is like this thing that anybody can do. But the two are the same thing, right? Like at the end of the day, growth and marketing are intertwined in a really big way. And number two, and the bigger thing for me is I think most people approach marketing talent as if it's linear, right? There are some A level marketers, there's an A minus level marketer, there's a B plus marketer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not how that shit works. There is a curve that goes up like this, where percentile of talent, impact,
And cost
and
also
cost.
goes like that.
Yes, yes, it
You know, they're like,
does.
oh, well, we can hire B level talent and we'll get good results. And the answer to that is no, you'll get terrible results and we'll lose money. And especially in the environment that we're in, it's really a like couple percentage points of the top tier talent who can actually produce
Who can
positive
move the needle?
results. Yeah.
That's, I mean, the thing that drives me insane is that for so long in software, it's been accepted that there are 10x engineers. There are 100x engineers. There are people, and no CEO at this point questions the validity of this,
Right.
right? Like, I mean, shit, we have Zuck over here offering a thousand tickets to people.
Yes,
Like,
he's literally manufacturing billionaires for funsies.
but he's not doing it because it's like enjoyable to pay somebody a
It's
bit. Like
because
he
they're
literally
worth it.
broke. Yeah, he broke a payroll system. Like, did you hear this?
No,
They
I missed
broke a
this.
payroll system because they had to put the offer. I think it was in like, I feel like it was Paylocity or something. One of these payroll systems they use, and they had to put the offer into the system, and the system does not accept $1 billion. It breaks.
That is insane.
They had to escalate a support ticket to like the chief technology officer or the VP of engineering or something to fix this bug so that they could actually pay somebody or issue $1 billion offer, which the person who was offered it later turned down. But also, full transparency, somebody offers me 1,000 tickets on a 4-year contract.
Take the money.
Do you want me to sign in red, white, blue, or Sharpie?
Like
Like I
I'll
will sell
I'll
out for a
sign in
billion
blood. Like
dollars.
give me a fucking knife. Like I'll sign in blood. I don't care.
100%. You want to offer me 1,000 tickets? Yes, please. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks, Zuck.
And the
Teams
important thing
up.
to remember is he's doing lots of these, and
Yes, yes.
he's doing it because he believes that it will be a net positive return for Meta.
I mean, I think you
And
can go further. He doesn't believe it could be a net positive. He thinks the highest and best use of his capital is to invest in these people.
and pay them hundreds of millions of dollars every single year.
Now, presumably, the only reason you would do that is, in, right? Like, I mean, every business is basically a capital allocation business. And if Zuck is allocating billions of dollars to human capital and talent for a very small handful of people, it's because he believes they can have returns that are better than anything else he could put money into, which tells you, huh, maybe some people really are worth the big numbers.
And that applies not just to
To
AI
AI
engineers and
and development,
basketball players and everything else. It applies to
growth
literally
talent,
any
marketing
skill
talent,
talent. Yeah.
media buying talent, creative talent. Like there is a 10x difference between Jeff Ogilvy and whoever the fuck the creative director is over at WPP.
RAP WPP's creative director.
Sorry,
But
homeboy.
but that is 100% true.
But it's true. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you could say that about me or you, too. Like, neither of us is Ogilvy yet. The difference is we have a shot.
People don't believe that. And they just
Oh,
think, oh, it's all the same. Like, how hard can it be? There's no difference. Give me whoever.
yeah.
And, that was fine 10 years ago when CPMs on Meta were $3 and the arbitrage value of that advertising was fucking insane.
Yes. But
When
you
literally a
also,
caveman could do it, right?
yes,
That was the way it was. That is not the
yes.
way it is today.
It is not. And I think a lot of brands are coming around to this reality because to bring this whole thing full circle, right? They started with this idea in their head that we can hire marketing talent cheaper because they were seeing the agency fees and they were saying we can do this cheaper and we can get somebody just like Collin, just like Sam, and we can pay him 150 grand a year and they can do 100% of their time on this brand, and by doing that, go forth. They
And there's
quickly
no difference
realized
between Google and Facebook and
book
creative
and
strategy.
TikTok
They can
and
do all of it as one
retention.
person for 150
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah. These people all went fucking unicorn hunting and all they found were deer and bears. Like,
There are no unicorns.
I mean, there are probably some, but they're not joining your growing 8 to 9 figure brand for 150 grand a year plus some bonuses.
No. They're taking contribution margin percentages and ripping it and cashing $250,000 checks. Like,
Yes, and they should be because realistically,
they're
I
the
think
best.
and they should be. Like that is the part that I feel like some people get. If you are willing to accept that an engineer can be worth 10x more than another engineer, then you must also accept that number one, when I look at like a VC term sheet, where does 60 to 70% of the money go? It's going to growth, advertising, marketing, distribution. That's just reality. If you're telling me that the thing that's 30%, which is product and engineering and all that shit, can have a 10x engineer, then why can you not come over here to the bigger side of the ledger and say, oh shit, that's probably true here too?
Doesn't make sense to me why
But
they can't
okay, so
compute.
anyway, we end up in this weird place, right? Where all these brands have hired these people that they thought were good. They look at their P&L and L and they're like, well, shit. We are missing targets. We are maybe growing at 10% year over year. This is not tenable. We're going into, at this point, we are 1 month into Q3. We are, best case scenario, right now, 3.75 months away from the start of our Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
We're in the heat of planning.
So, yeah, that's where you're at. And I think when you look at it, though, if you take the two premises that we have, right, and you ask yourself this simple question, I think brands are finally coming to the right answer, which is, would I rather have a mediocre marketer 100% of the time? Or would I rather have Collin for 12 or 15% of the time? Which one is a better EV bet? The mediocre guy 100% or Collin for 10 or 12 or 15%? And the answer that they're finally coming around to is Collin for 10 or 15%.
You know who else has fun? Great agency owners,
That's true.
great talent. Now that all of the brands who are like, no, we'll do it in house, are realizing it's not actually that easy to do it.
It is
And
not.
so we had a prospect come recently and for Google Ads, and he told me that he had hired 7 different people internally to try and do Google Ads. How hard can it be? He thought. And after 7 attempts, realized it's actually really fucking hard to find people who are good.
I mean, one, good on him for finally coming to that realization. That's a positive. That's growth. Two, it probably shouldn't have taken you 7 attempts to figure that shit out.
Probably. And they were like, so how do you do it? And it was very easy. A, I'm excellent at it, so I know how to avoid bullshitters. And B, I back up the Brinks fucking truck and dump money on these people.
Yes.
More than you could ever afford.
Yes, because we aren't constrained by you're a media buyer. We can only pay you $93,000 a year. No, if you're great, I'll pay you a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, I can give you $250,000 with upside, and you can 10x all of those accounts that you manage, which brings in more revenue for us. And no one is paying $250,000 for a Google
Brand
Ads
side.
person except for an agency.
This is the issue that I have though. And I think it's the same issue that I've always had with professional sports teams. Always had this issue, like since I was a child playing like Madden 2001. If you are willing to go pay like rando superstars like all this money, why the fuck are you not willing to go back up the Brinks truck for the coordinator or the head coach that unlocks them? Right? It's the same thing with a Google Ads account, right? You're willing to pay Google $2 million a month. You're willing to pay Meta $10 million a month, $5 million a month.
And you're going to give him fucking Matt Nagy as the coach.
What are you doing? Like, if you believe that the right person can unlock an additional 10% efficiency from a Google Ads account spending $1 million a month, which is a substantial sum, but it's not by any means even in the top 1,000 largest spenders. It's probably around like the top maybe 500, maybe 1,000, maybe 5,000 spenders are $1 million a month or more.
I mean, there's a lot of them spending at least that much money. I know we have at least a bunch in our MCC. So
yeah, there's got to be 5,000 of them in the world, if not more. I have no stats on this, so Ginny, if I'm wrong, just correct us in the comments. That'll be the most engagement we get anyway. But okay, so let's say you get 10% efficiency on that million, 10% better returns on that $1 million a month. Well, that person has created $1.2 million in value, at least over the course of a year.
What is that worth to you? A lot. I mean, it's worth $1.2 million.
It should be worth something less than $1.2 million, right?
And how much would you pay to make that happen?
And the answer is probably $400,000, probably more.
If I said you make an extra $1.2 million, all you have to do is give me
course of a year.
$400,000. Again, also over the course of a year.
Yeah.
You pay $40,000. I give you $100,000. Do you say yes to that?
And if the answer is yes, now you understand the concept.
Yes.
We have gotten to that point.
And I think there is a degree of greed and stupidity that prevents this from happening, where they're like, oh, I should be able to get a 12x return on this investment when it comes to labor. And in much the same way that the ROI expectations have reasonably come down on advertising, you also cannot expect a 12, 10, 20x return on labor. It's not realistic.
It isn't.
It's not the most efficient market, but I can assure you If someone is generating $1 million in value, they are not going to accept 100 grand, or
Mm-mm.
they're not going to accept it for very long. Um, it does not work that way,
No. And
especially not in a tight labor market.
no, like unemployment, I mean, even with the revisions down on Thursday and Friday, unemployment is very low. Like there is not a shortage of open positions. There is a deficit of qualified talent.
I know. I'm actively hiring for these people all the time.
Yeah, same. I mean, we're hiring between 5 and 7 roles right now. And we're
The
probably
pickings are
two.
fucking slim out there too.
I mean, our average has been about 250 applications per hire, and I think we're actually pushing that up at this point.
And I'll say something. That's excellent because I mean, depending on the role, somewhere between 600 and 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough out there. Like it is hard to find great talent. And I think this is where agencies coming back into vogue is good for everybody. Because for a long time, I think I want to say, I'm going on a limb here. I think for at least the last 5 years, shitting on agencies has been in vogue. Everybody wants to have a brand, everybody wants to be SaaS, and agency businesses, which are essentially service businesses, were, if you kind of put like the hierarchy, like I don't want to say like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but Sam's hierarchy of shit you can make money on, it was agencies are at the bottom, then there was 20 levels of shit, and then there was SaaS, and then there was another 5 levels of shit, and then there was brand. And everybody wants to have the brand. This is why agencies started brands. This is why, CTC is over there spinning up what is essentially a SaaS company inside of Statless, right? Because everybody shat on agencies so much as overpriced and all this other bullshit. But when people finally came around to being like, oh shit, maybe agencies do something valuable. Maybe they know what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they know how to hire talent better than I do. Maybe they know how to manage it better than I do. Now all of a sudden agencies are getting cool again.
Yeah. When when all of this was easy, everyone's like, "Oh, fuck agencies, who needs them?" Now that it's hard, come on back. Come on back, agencies. We love you. Come on
Yeah.
back. Come help us save our business.
And I mean, the math has never changed, right? It's the same reason why I don't hire an in-house general counsel. Because the general counsel, who is actually very, 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 very good, who would be able to provide disproportionate value, number one, I don't need them full time. And then I'm going to find myself in the fractional fucking general counsel business just to break even. But also because I don't want to pay them. Like, I would rather control my cost.
It doesn't make financial sense for you to do that.
Yeah. No, it is cheaper
Just the
for me
way,
to pay a much higher hourly rate and use my lawyer 5% of his billable hours, 7% of his billable hours, and I pay 30%, I pay 3x what I would have to pay him if I hired him for 100% of his billable hours. But it turns out that that's a really good deal for me and a really good deal for him.
yeah, it's very easy math. Well, it should be very easy math.
Well, math is not very easy for the vast majority of people.
That is true.
I mean, I feel like it's like one of those things we should probably just break down, right? At the end of the day, if you believe what we have said is true, if you believe that the right marketing talent can have a transformational impact on your business, on your ad account, on your creative strategy, on your retention strategy, on whatever it is that you need, then that transformational impact has a value to your overall enterprise.
And do
So
some back of the napkin math, right? Like,
it's not
what is
hard.
unlocking 30% growth? Or let's say you're growing at 10% and you believe that good talent can increase it another 20%. Like, do that math.
Yeah. You're a
Okay.
$10
How much
million
is a
brand.
great agency going to cost?
Yeah, you're a $10 million brand. This means that over the course of a year, you will at 20% growth, 20% incremental growth, instead of going from 10 million to 11 million, you're going 10 million to 13 million next year. Instead of going from 11 million to 12.1 million, you're going from 13 million to almost 17 million. What's
It's a
that
big
worth?
delta.
What's that worth?
And how much does the agency cost to unlock that?
And
And the other thing to remember is that, like, the cost to the agency is not in a vacuum.
no,
It's against the cost of having the people on your team, which is probably more expensive than the agency anyway,
yes. So,
even for
and
B tier talent.
yes, it is. The thing that I keep running into and the thing that I keep having to tell people is essentially when you hire an agency, you are hiring for things. One of those things is world-class talent, and that is by far the best thing. But it is not the only thing you are bringing in. Number two, you are bringing in processes. Agencies have SOPs, they have rules, they have scripts, they have workflows, they have creative strategy documents, they have the infrastructure you need to unlock the talent that they provide, as well as the talent that is already on your team. That's team
And
two.
to do things efficiently, because that is the business of the agency. Because we have
Yes.
to pay the people a shitload of money to get the top tier talent. And so we need to make sure that the 10% of their time they spend on your business is ruthlessly efficient and effective. So
Yes.
something that takes your team member, your B tier talent, 4 hours, our A talent can do it in 35 minutes or 45 minutes.
Correct. All right. So there's talent, there's processes, there's, I want to say, I call this perspective, but it's basically like market insight, right? When you work at a brand, all you see is that brand.
Right.
You do not see what is going on across different verticals, across different industries, across different regions. You don't see what's happening in different sectors. If you're a retail brand and you're in, I don't know, men's care, you are not seeing what's happening in cosmetics. You're not seeing what's happening in fashion. You're not seeing what's happening in sports tech. We are.
You're not
We
running that many tests. You're
no,
not, you don't know how well PMAX works broadly because you haven't run 10 incrementality tests on it across a dozen different verticals.
100%. So you are limiting the perspective that you have to grow. Whereas an agency comes in and it's like, great, we've seen this before. We know how to get out of this particular problem.
Yeah, because we've done it 3 times in the last quarter.
Correct. And the final thing, and this is kind of a weird one, but I hate using the word diversity because it's become such a polarized word, but I'm going to call it diverse skill sets. Right? When you hire one B level talent and you now ask that person to go off and do email, well, a B tier generalist is going to do a D job on email if they're fucking lucky. I don't have this problem. I have one of the best lifecycle and retention marketers in the world on my payroll. You come to me and say, great, I need to unlock email. No fucking problem. I can now bring in the best person, right?
And the cost of that talent, and this is something that I say to clients all the time, is I'm like, look, you have access to $1 million worth of payroll at any given time on your account. And yes, they are not working full time on your account, but that's the level of cost to get access to the talent that we have. And you get access to it for a small fraction of that price.
I mean, and those are really the four verticals of value, right? And you could make an argument that there is one about like, training if your agency offers that and all that other shit, but put that to the side, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to, exceptional talent, world-class talent in the primary thing that you're hiring the agency for. It comes down to processes and procedures. And, we didn't lump in here, but I lump in here the infrastructure stack because every agency comes in and they're like, great, like, we've pre-vetted every tool. We don't have to vet your tools. We can just tell you
We've
which ones
wasted
work.
money on trash ass tools before.
Yeah, we know that, right? We can come in and we can give you the processes to unlock new efficiencies, right? And after that, You come in and we have that perspective where we're seeing ad accounts from, you know, health and medicine to sports tech to fashion to lifestyle to furniture to SaaS. We see all of it. So we understand what's working. We understand what's not working. We understand what trends are emerging, and we can just give you that knowledge versus you having to get that knowledge yourself. And oh, by the way, when you have a problem that is not in this core area, we also have that roster of subject matter experts that we can just bring in who are the very best. Like your creative is struggling. Amazing. We can bring in a world class creative strategist. Your email's struggling. Great. Your Facebook ads are struggling. You've got Phil, right?
Just drop them
That
in
is
for a
what you
few
on,
hours.
right? And the analogy that I've used this on a pitch call very recently. I was like, and this guy was, a football fan, and he was like, a former coach and like of like whatever Texas high school football, which in Texas there's like three things. There's God, there's barbecue, and there's Texas football, right? Like, and I was like, what would it be worth to you if instead of your defensive coordinator for 2 hours a week, Bill Belichick would walk into your room and help you scheme up a defense for this week's matchup? Would you accept Bill Belichick for 2 hours? And he was like, yeah, I would. I was like, that's hiring an agency. You get Bill Belichick for 2 hours. And do you think Bill Belichick can run a better defense in 2 hours than your bum ass defensive coordinator could in a week? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay then.
An ex talent. What a concept.
We now understand each other. And he got it. He was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, okay, well, turns out all you need is the right analogy.
Hire us.
Yeah. If you don't hire us for the marketing, hire us for the analogies, because that one was pretty good. But that's what you're doing. And when you get an agency that can do those four things, to your point, often we're doing it at a lower cost than even the B-level talent, because I'm spreading the cost of that talent across 5 accounts, 7 accounts, 10 accounts, 6 accounts, depending on the account.
And they're better and more efficient at everything that needs to get done. And they're not trying to do things that are not in their zone of expertise.
Yes. Because, I firmly believe, and I know you do too, that work is a gas, right? And when you work in these brands, no one understands how to prioritize because, to your point, they are not ruthlessly focused on efficiency.
Because they don't have to be.
Right. You are here for 40 hours, so you can just do these things because work is a gas and you need to appear busy.
That does not fly in an agency, I assure you.
No,
of that.
It doesn't, because that makes us bankrupt.
We need to be ruthlessly efficient, because every minute that a delivery team member spends on delivery has to have a positive ROI.
Yes.
And that's positive ROI for us, and that's positive ROI for you, the client, as well.
Correct. And the other part that I think everybody misses as we talk about this, especially on the brand side, is I genuinely do not think that most brands appreciate how difficult it is to fire bad people.
No. Both from a structural legal standpoint, but also a replacing them standpoint, and working up the emotional cojones to fucking do it standpoint. Getting rid of shitty people is very hard, and in some jurisdictions close to impossible.
It's hard, and that's what it comes down to. Is we've done that, right? And when you have an agency, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you have an out clause. Ours is usually 90 days because we do bigger engagements, and candidly, if you want us to reserve people and they're only working on 2 or 3 accounts, then guess what? That's what you're going to get, because you want a dedicated talent. If it's a smaller engagement, then it's probably 60 days, because
that's very easy to get out of.
It is. It's 60 days. There's no personal improvement plans. There's no talking to legal counsel. There's no
severance. Are they going to sue us for discrimination spuriously? Right. So we have to retain counsel.
There's none of it. It's just great. You know what? I'm not happy with what Collin's doing. I'm not happy with what Sam's doing. No problem. Okay. That's it. honor your contractual obligation, pay out the whatever the termination period is. You still have to work during that period, to be very clear. So it's not like you're just like paying like a bonus to go away. You're still getting the service for that period of time, and then you're done. And
Doing it.
you are agency, right? You're bundling up the assets. You're doing all the handoff. You're winding down whatever has to be wound down, right? Like there are things that actually do happen here. So I mean, I think that's the bull case for service businesses, right? We have talent that you can't get that we can deploy in your business for the time that you actually need at a cost that is on balance more competitive than what you could get by hiring that talent full time or even an inferior talent full time.
And the margins are not that good, right? Like agencies are not running around with 70% profit margins. Not the good ones that are
I
staffed with the
wish,
people anyway. Yeah, me too.
but that's not the reality, right? I mean,
Like,
fundamentally, I think most agencies are going to be between a 15% profit margin and a 30% profit margin.
yes.
And, maybe there's
Which
some outliers on either side of this equation, but that's where you're at.
I will say, for the headache that we have to fucking deal with, you know what? Doesn't feel like enough. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fair. It's a, I, for all that we've shat on CTC over the years, right? I think Taylor is right about this, that more people should love their service business. Because ultimately, I think agencies play an essential role in what you do. And yes, you and I both run agencies. We, operate those agencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we are slightly biased. But if I were starting a brand today, I would not be hiring marketing talent. I would be hiring an agency.
Yes. And transparently, I think that is one of the reasons why many great agency owners start brands because they have the hardest part, which is the marketing talent.
Yes.
And they're like, great, I'll hire my own agency and I get to enjoy the upside on the brand.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, look
But I
at
mean,
like Zach Stuck, perfect example. Like, Sean at Ridge was a fucking agency guy before.
yeah, that's 100% fair. And I do think there is a real, I think Zach, like knowing Zach, right? He's got a tremendous talent for building brands. And I think he's managed to marry those two things up really nicely in the sense that he actually gets product and he's really invested the time to educate himself on the logistics of running a brand. So he is one of those rare people. And Sean Frank over at Ridge is the same thing, right? Like he's figured that out. But most people, like, that's fucking hard to do. Like, I'm not. They do have the marketing chops, but great marketing with a shit product is not going to get you anywhere,
That is true. You need
right?
both.
You need both. You need to be the person who gets marketing and can intuitively do it, but also gets the product side, gets the logistics, gets the ops, right? They can do all those things too. And I think Sean and Zach are two people who, to their credit, have done that. They get it. But they're also, I mean, like Zach, for instance, is not running an agency at this point. And I think he'd be the first to tell you that Homestead is run by their CEO and it's not him. Like he is not involved in that business day to day for the most
Sure.
part.
But I mean, Homestead is heavily like, and that's the thing, right? A lot of these end up becoming, especially for the ones who can figure out product, right? And that's not easy.
Yeah.
If it were, everyone would have incredible product. Like the agencies almost become in-house agencies for the brands that the people own. Because again, the marketing talent is very hard. And I actually had a conversation very recently with a large nine-figure brand here in the UK. And he was like, oh, we're having so much trouble hiring marketing talent. We can't find marketing talent. And I had a suggestion and I told him, find a great agency and buy it and in-house it. And there you go. And that's your marketing talent. They've
Yeah.
already figured it out. They have the talent. Just spend the 5 to 10 million pounds or whatever and buy the agency.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. It's a good solution
If
for,
you have the money for it.
for 3 to 5 years until that agency atrophies and you've killed it with your bullshit.
Well, you know what? If you hit $1 billion in those 3 years, does it really matter? You
Does it
throw
really
them out
matter?
and you buy
No.
a new one.
No, it does not. And I think that's ultimately where I keep coming back to when we talk to brands about hiring an agency. It's, look, we are mercenaries. Our job is to get you from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. But I think a lot of brands, when they start doing this hiring, they start to conflate. I want somebody who is like a perfect fit for my culture and my organization, which is super important in hiring, to I want somebody who can get me this result, which is super important in picking an agency or a partner. And you start, these worlds mix in weird ways, and it's just not good. Like, you hire Collin because you need your Google ads to perform at a certain level, and he can do it. That's it.
And it's no problem if I'm not a culture fit. If you guys are buttoned up and don't curse, fucking good for you. Like, but if the numbers go up, leave me the fuck alone.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Like, you bring in an agency to get you from point A to point B as efficiently as possible. We are an accelerant or a catalyst on your underlying business. If your business is fundamentally fucked, we cannot fix it. We can tell you that it's fucked, but we're also not the guys that are going to be like going in and negotiating with your 3PL or your manufacturer and getting your product fixed, right?
That is also an underutilized, I think, value of agency relationships is if you're someone who is open about honesty and getting transparent feedback. We've seen inside a shitload of businesses. We have a generally good understanding of what can work and what cannot work. And we
Yes.
can tell you, you don't have a business here, or these numbers will never work. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
we got 65% COGS. And I was like, well, you got nothing. Like, go find a real job. Like, it's not going to work. You
No,
can't do Facebook ads.
you have a hobby. It's what you have. You have a call center.
We need an 8x ROAS to break even. Well, good luck. It's
I'm
not
sorry,
happening.
that's not happening. But thanks for playing.
Yeah, nice.
The price
It's
is
cute.
wrong.
The price is very wrong.
Like, I'm sorry, but that's okay. So, if you're going to sum all this up, right, at the end of the day, I think it's agencies don't suck. Agencies aren't always amazing. Agencies are a tool, right? We're a lever you can pull to unlock new growth in your business that has distinct advantages and distinct disadvantages versus in-house talent.
It's as simple as that.
It really is. Like, stop the agency hate. Agencies are great. Great agencies are great. Shitty agencies are shitty. Great hires are great. Shitty hires are shitty. All right. Well, if this episode was helpful to you, you have questions, comments, do the comment thing, press the bell, do the like,
If you have
subscribe,
angry
share.
things, stuff
If
that
you
made
would-
you furious, definitely flame us in the comments too.
We do appreciate some rage. Rage is good. All right. So, until next week, I'm Sam Tomlinson.
And I'm Colin Slattery, and this was Marketing Uncensored.